So it's officially happened. Spooktober has come to its conclusion.
Goodbye, Spooktober.
Goodbye, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, adieu. That said, we had a Halloween party.
That we did.
Ooh. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know that we were having a lot of trouble deciding what we wanted to be for Halloween this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what we ended up deciding to be is Robin and Starfire from the Teen Titans.
Yes, but not just any version of Robin and Starfire. No.
Too simple.
It was the casual wear from one of my favorite artists, Gabriel Piccolo.
I got to be rocking this varsity jacket kind of deal with the Robin insignia on it and Robin's little dinky mask that he always wears. But I kind of scuffed it because we couldn't find a black version of Robin's mask. So we bought a red version, which was fine, but we wanted it to be black because authenticity, you know?
Yes.
So, the day of the party, 3 hours before the party, I decided to spray paint it. Genius idea. What could go wrong, right?
Oh,
Nothing could go wrong. And so, I spray painted it. It was looking great. I even let it dry and put a second coat on just to make sure it was looking fantastic. Well, you see, the thing with spray paint is... Well, paint in general, I suppose. If you don't give it time to dry, it sticks to your face. And so I took my mask off, and there was just... It looked like I was still wearing the mask.
Essentially.
Or like I was a chimney sweep.
Yeah. You did look a little dirty.
Dirty fighting crime.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And then for me, I drew on some little tattoos that look like little soot sprites.
Yes.
From Spirited Away.
Oh, they do.
I don't know why he gave Starfire I think they're supposed to be aliens.
Oh, yeah,
but
that would
they
make
look like
sense.
little soot sprites. Anyways, I drew on little Sharpie tattoos. I wore a NASA shirt. And I wore a red wig. And boy, did I have an adventure of a time trying to make my hair red. So I bought a wig from Amazon. It wasn't the best. It made me kind of really sad. And so then I called up my friend Hannah. And I was like, please help. What do I do? I'm going to spray my hair with red spray. And she's like, please don't do that, because that's like the worst thing you can do for your hair. So she sent me out to go buy this, I think the brand is called Good Dye Young, and it's Hayley Williams from Paramore. It's her hair dye brand. Mm-hmm. And so she made this hair paste situation that makes your hair, if you have like a medium brown, makes your hair red, except... It wouldn't go away for 3 washes, I think. So I was like, ooh, do I want to go to work with red hair, though? I don't know. I don't know if I want to commit to that. But luckily, Hannah also had 2 red wigs, and one of them worked for Starfire. So I was kind of casual NASA representing Starfire.
Teen Titans, let's go. But yeah, and then the party itself consisted of a lot of fun games that we got to play with friends, like card games, Super Smash Brothers, all that good stuff. But before we dive into what else we played at the party, welcome back to ThoughtCast, the podcast where we talk all about video games and anime. I'm John.
And I'm Allie.
And we have a lot to talk about this week.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot. And the first thing on the docket is one of the most fun things we played at our Halloween party, and that is the new Mario Party Superstars that came out just within this last week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with it.
Yeah, we actually are recording this podcast really late at night because we've kind of been playing Mario Party all day. Oops. But we're actually actively recording this on Halloween, so we had to play the Horrorland map.
It was really fun, except for when I lost.
Yeah, well, we ended up pretty 50-50 between you and I, winning and losing. Really, we just had a vendetta against the CPUs. If you're not familiar with this new Mario Party, essentially, it's taking mini games from a lot of the most popular Mario parties from the past. And it has 5 retro maps like Horrorland, Peach's Birthday Cake, stuff like that. And it's been such a blast from the past. I personally haven't had the opportunity to play a lot of Mario Party in my life. And so this is an experience that I've just felt like I've been missing my entire life. And having the opportunity to play it now is just so much fun.
Aww. I remember playing, I'm pretty sure it was the first Mario Party, I guess. I don't remember, but I think it was the first Mario Party on N64. And I would rent it out when they still had video game rentals at Walmart and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I would rent it out, and I loved playing some of the mini games, like the ones where you stretch the face of Bowser. Yeah. And I really enjoyed, oh gosh, what were the other ones? Ones where you have to like jump on different platforms, and I think they look like mushrooms. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I guess I did play Mario Party 1, but it was just so much fun. And I played by myself. I was like, I don't know, 5 years old or something like that. And it was just, I don't know, it was such a good, wholesome time. And I had so many fond memories of playing that I'm so happy that they brought it back. Like, these mini games are back.
Yeah, and like, when I was a kid, a lot of the games that I would play, like, my friends just didn't have Mario Party. Like, we'd play Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube, and that was fantastic. If we were playing on the N64, honestly, we were probably playing GoldenEye. Mm-hmm. And so, getting to see what was such a pivotal part of so many people in our age group's childhoods is just so nice, and seeing how it holds up, and it's still fun, like even as an adult, kind of experiencing these things for the first time is so cool. Because I've never honestly seen the appeal for Mario Party until like the last year or so.
Really?
Yeah, because it's just, I was like, why would I play a video game board game if I could just play a board game? And there's so many awesome board games out there that having a game like this, which is almost, it's not Monopoly-esque, but like in my brain, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, why would I do that if I could just play something like my roommate in college? He had so many awesome games, like Settlers of Catan or Sheriff of Nottingham or Pandemic, which maybe we don't want to play that game.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one.
No, yeah. We never won that one. Anyways. And so I just never saw the reason to. And I played the Mario Party on the Wii U, and it was just fine. No. It wasn't that fun. And so I was just like, why would I want to go back to this? But Mario Party Superstars just hit everything right, and I felt nostalgic without actually having played it, which is so nice and something I think is a huge strength of this game.
Yeah. I can't believe that I forgot about this, but I used to play a ton of Mario Party in college. Like, a ton.
Oh, really?
So, when you start in college, I feel like most people, maybe not John, because his friend group stayed intact.
We just hung out with a lot of them just this past weekend.
Yeah, my first friend group did not remain intact. It wasn't like we had a big blow-up fight or anything, but everyone just went their separate ways. Mm-hmm. I feel like that happens to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, so in my first college friend group, we used to all get together in one of my friends' rooms, and we would play Mario Party together. Mm-hmm. And it was on N64. I don't remember if we played the first one, the second one, or whatever, but we would play some version of Mario Party, and it was a ton of fun. And yeah, I remember really enjoying it, but I don't remember much beyond that.
And so if you just want a fun party game on Switch, I would say that Mario Party Superstars is something that you should definitely check out. I think it's a staple. I don't think it would hold up that well single player, but there is online, so there's that capacity to it too. So if you just like board games and party games like this, and maybe you're not living in the same place as your friends, so you can't play it physically in the same spot. You can play it virtually, whether it's with strangers on the internet or with your friends, like wherever they might be.
Yeah, and if you really like those classic mini games, they have 100 mini games to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It has some of the best mini games from the series. Like, every one that we've played up to this point has been so much fun.
Yes.
Even though some I'm very terrible at.
Oh, no, same.
I'm terrible at button mashing. The snowboarding mini game, where you have to do it in that proper sequence, I lose it every time.
I'm pretty good. Yeah.
But that is not the only game that was released this week. I would say that this is not even my favorite game that was released this week.
Oh, what was your favorite? I would love to know. It's not like I already know because you've been talking about it nonstop.
So, let me paint you a picture.
Oh, please.
So, since we're going with nostalgia, I feel like we talk about Nintendo a lot. I'm sure that you can already tell that we adore Nintendo. One game from my childhood that I look very fondly back at is Pikmin 2.
Okay.
I love Pikmin 2. One of the first videos on our YouTube channel focuses heavily on how much I love Pikmin 2.
Mm-hmm.
This week, and we've known about this for a while, but we didn't know when it was coming, they announced Pikmin Bloom, which is essentially a Pikmin version of Pokemon Go. It's an augmented reality game where you walk around the real world. It incentivizes you to go out and walk. And while you're doing that, you can gather Pikmin. You can get your own little squadron of Pikmin. And just like in the Pikmin games, they can go out, they can get fruit that can be turned into resources that you can feed to your Pikmin so that they can grow flowers. And if they grow flowers on tops of their little Pikmin heads, the red, the blue, the yellow, the purple, the white Pikmin, whatever Pikmin you please, you can pick those petals. And do you know what you can do with those petals, Allie?
I already know, but you should tell me anyway.
You can plant flowers all around the world. And so wherever you walk, when you have the flower petal machine turned on, it plants flowers behind you. Anyone who's playing Pikmin Bloom can see the flowers that you planted, which I think is so cute. And I am in love with this game, even more so than I was with Pokemon Go, I think, when that released. Which, Pokemon Go was absolutely revolutionary at the time and blew everyone's minds. But you hit a wall very distinctly. Maybe it's because I lived in a rural area, so there weren't that many Pokemon kind of spawning around me. But this makes me want to go out and walk, but it gives me the warm fuzzies because it's so not intrusive into these walks and into my life. Because you just kind of turn the flowers on, you kind of walk, like you'll hit one of the big flowers that you can start growing, and maybe you grow it, maybe you don't. But sorry, what are your thoughts? Because you've also been playing Pikmin Bloom before I go even further into why this is the best thing that's ever happened and how I don't think people are paying enough attention to it.
Okay, so I feel like in order for me to tell you why I like Pikmin Bloom so much, I kind of have to talk a little smack on Pokemon Go for a second.
Oh, tea.
Yeah. So, okay, when Pokemon Go first came out, I was super into it, as was everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
We all had it downloaded. I mean, we were all going on walks together. It was so wonderful, but we were also looking down at our phones.
Yeah, it was a phenomenon, but you couldn't just play it passively.
No.
Especially at the beginning.
Yes, especially at the beginning when you're constantly catching new Pokemon and like nothing's a repeat and everything is so new to you. So we were constantly looking down at our phones. It was so much fun to go see that something could be close by because, I mean, you just started the game. You have to find all of the Pokemon, all 151 at the time, at least. And so we would like try and run together and go figure out where whatever Pokemon was. And that was enjoyable.
Or like take gyms or find different Pokestops so you could hit as many Pokestops as you could in such a short period of time.
Yeah, but even though they had so many community events, I never felt like I was in a community.
Mm-hmm.
It always felt like a solo experience or like a solo adventure. And I was constantly comparing myself to other people. So when it came time and a Dragonite appeared on my street and my game crashed when I caught the Dragonite and it did not save the Dragonite in my inventory, I never opened it ever again.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, what the heck? And I felt so cool in that moment. I was like, I got the Dragonite. I was the first person in my friend group to get the Dragonite. Like, I'm so cool. And nope, I didn't get it. And it was frustrating to me because I, like, ran down the street at night. I am a small girl. Like, it was... I'm not saying I lived in a dangerous area, but I didn't live in a posh or really nice area either. So I was kind of scared to go run down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, all of the risks I took, all of the things I did for Pokemon Go, only to just not really feel like I had a community and feel like I was constantly at odds with my friends over catching things, didn't really like it. Pikmin Bloom has impressed me more in one day than Pokemon Go did after playing it for months.
Yeah, and I agree fully. Like, I would go play Pokemon Go with friends, but I never had the opportunity to meet people through it. I never had the opportunity to see who was kind of, like, playing in the area. I didn't see what effect it had on the surrounding area, except when you saw a gym that was taken by another person. And that's the only kind of interactivity I kind of saw, except with once they added, like, the friends and giving gifts and that kind of stuff to it. Which is all great. I still play Pokemon Go to this day. I still thoroughly enjoy it. I prefer Pikmin Bloom, but I still like Pokemon Go personally. And I know loads of people who have found amazing communities through Pokemon Go and established that. But for us, that just wasn't the experience.
I've read about what people have said about Pokemon Go. I've listened to talks by Niantic. Like, I know the impact that Pokemon Go has had on different people and communities, and especially on families. Oh my gosh, the stories of grandmas who get to hang out with their grandchildren in a way that they never anticipated. Because, I mean, kids run around, they're always playing sports, they're always doing high-impact activities. Sometimes little old grandmas don't know how to play with their grandkids in a way that isn't just sitting in front of a screen watching something, which kids, even then, still kind of get squirmy when they're, like, trying to get through a 24-ish to 30-minute show. It's just not practical all the time. So Pokemon Go gave a lot of families a way to hang out with one another, and it's so sweet, and it makes me so happy, but it just was not my personal experience. Pikmin Bloom gave me a reason to go on a walk today, and it gave me a reason to be introspective and think about my day, and it made my day better because of it.
Yes. And I think that introspection piece is one of my favorite parts of Pikmin Bloom because, you know, you go throughout the day, it counts your steps. It does a really great job as a pedometer because it doesn't force you to connect with the health app, but like Pokemon Go, it directly does connect with your health app if you're on an iPhone in particular. I don't know about Androids, whether they have a comparable app or not, but it works really well as a pedometer, and it tells you how many steps you get in a day, which I think is really interesting to track and see, you know, kind of how today compared with yesterday or last week or whatever. And that's really fun to see everywhere you kind of went in a day, everywhere that you walked at, because it shows you everywhere you opened it and played it and whatever. But at the end of the day, and this is my favorite part, it provides you the opportunity to say how your day went. They give you a frowny face, a neutral face, or a smiley face. and then allows you to add a note. And I love that so much. It sounds so silly, but it pulls straight from the Pikmin games where Captain Olimar gives you his traveler's log at the end of the day, just detailing briefly what happened during his day. And I've been someone who has always wanted to get into journaling, but I've never done it. For whatever reason, I've tried it. I could never actually get into it. I know Pikmin Bloom has only been out for us for like 3 or 4 days, but I have looked forward to writing in that little journal every single one of those days, just to talk about my day, what I liked, what I didn't like, in 300 characters. Nice, quick, and easy. And it's such a feel-good game.
Yes, I really love the community aspect, because in Pokemon Go, I never did the gyms. Ever. Because I'm terrified of embarrassing myself. I know that I'm not competitive. I know that I didn't build a team or do any of that stuff. Like, I don't play Pokemon because I want to fight with them. I don't play Pokemon because I want to build a good team or have really good moves, or like, I don't care about that. I want to get really cute Pokemon and name them stupid things. That's where I get my enjoyment from the game. So I never did the gyms. And it was fun to look at them, but that's where it ended. And with Pikmin Bloom, we're working together as a community to spread the flowers, and also I haven't had the opportunity to do this yet. There are big seedlings.
Yeah, there are big seedlings that if you plant so many flowers, typically it's 300. I haven't seen any that aren't 300, but if you and a bunch of other people combined plant 300 flowers within the radius of this seedling, which effectively acts as a Pokestop, it blooms into this giant flower.
Aww.
And I haven't successfully done it yet, and I didn't want to look up what it does when it blooms into that flower, just because I want to be surprised, because I'm really enjoying this game. But something happens when you make this big flower bloom, and everyone can see that it bloomed. And you'll see all of the flowers and where everyone walked around it. And you can plant different colors of flowers, like white, red, yellow, blue. And it's just so nice to be able to see kind of who in your community is kind of moving around. And you don't actually get to see who it is unless you say you're walking with them. And then their character, if you both say you're walking with someone, both of your characters appear on the map, which I think is so cute.
That is so cute. But I don't know. I love communities. I'm so happy to be involved in literally any community, even if it's not one where I live. I get such a high off of going to community days or going to any type of event where I feel like I'm a part of something. Like even going to a concert, or going to like a fall festival, or watching a parade. All of those moments where I am a small part of a larger crowd that's all looking at or celebrating something, I get so happy. I can't even describe it. It just makes me so happy to be a part of something like that.
Yeah. And the game makes you feel like you're in the real world, and it's actually happening in the real world. Because it's like, okay, these Pokemon show up at this place, but there's no real rhyme or reason to it other than the few geographically like specific Pokemon. Like you can only catch Heracross in South America and some of the really kind of more southern parts of North America. Whereas with Pikmin Bloom, you can do these things called expeditions, where you send a Pikmin to a place that you've been recently so that they can get like a lemon or whatever it is, whatever fruit that they're trying to get, or whatever Pikmin seedling, whatever it might be. But let's say you get on a flight from, I don't know, Denver to Virginia, something like that. And you fly from Denver to Virginia. You could send your Pikmin across the country to get this lemon or whatever, because they know it's there. And it could take them 40 days to get back or something like that. Like they travel at a specific rate in real time. And they could literally travel across the country if you move away from that location, which is so funny because you can literally run away from them if you want to. Like they could never catch up to you if you're like driving in a car or constantly on the move. And I think that's so funny and just such an interesting part of the game. And I like that there's no competition piece to it, like the Team Mystic, Team Valor, Team Instinct.
Yeah, at first that was really, really fun. And I
Yes.
loved being able to go around. I think we were downtown one day and I ran into someone who had a Team Mystic little sticker on his backpack. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're Team Mystic? Team Mystic.
Mm-hmm.
And then, were you Team Mystic? I can't remember.
Yeah, I was Team Mystic.
Oh, so you were like, yeah, Team Mystic. And
Team
I'm
Mystic
like,
supremacy.
well, I was Team Instinct, so look where I am. Okay? Leave me alone.
You chose that.
But, okay. Leave me alone.
Articuno supremacy.
I like electric types.
We can agree that Moltres is the worst.
You're right.
Yeah. Team Valor's the worst.
Ugh.
But, to your point, that's fun and everything, but it gets old quick.
Yeah, it lost it pretty fast.
Yeah. But essentially, those are our feelings about Pikmin Bloom right now.
Please plant flowers.
Yes, please try it out. Just try it out. Download Pikmin Bloom if you enjoyed Pokemon Go. Maybe you'll like it more, maybe you'll like it less. Depends on what you're looking for in a game. But just try it out because you can tell that they put a lot of time and effort into this game. And it feels carefully crafted, not just like a cash grab. Because I looked at the microtransactions and I don't see why I would want any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why I would spend money on this game. And it doesn't feel like it's pulling money out of me. If I walk a lot, then I level up pretty quickly. Like, there aren't any barriers that I'm seeing as of yet. Obviously, it's pretty early on, so maybe there's something hidden that I just haven't noticed. But Pokemon Go didn't feel that intrusive to me either in terms of microtransactions. So, I don't know. Try it out, please. But moving on to something a bit less inherently wholesome.
Yeah. So, if you haven't heard the news, Facebook, as in the company Facebook and not the social media platform Facebook, is now Meta. So, yeah. So, Facebook, the company, has rebranded to Meta because good old Mark Zuckerberg is looking to start to put a lot of money and time and effort and resources into the metaverse. And this is something that, working at a game studio, I've definitely been hearing about a lot. We've talked about the metaverse quite a bit at work. And I talked with my coworkers and we watched the whole thing together where he talked about the metaverse and what Meta/Facebook is planning on doing with it. And I'd like to share some info with you. Mm-hmm. So, if you did not watch the whole Facebook Connect live stream or watch it after the fact, basically it was an 1.5 hour long keynote of Mark Zuckerberg going through all of the different things that he's planning on for the metaverse. Keynote here, let's talk about what the metaverse is, because I feel like a lot of people have never even heard this word before, and it's been around for quite a while. So the metaverse is an iteration of the internet, and this term has been around for a really long time. I mean, since like the early 1990s. It originally came from some book. I don't know all the history of it, but basically, usually it's kind of dystopian, but not always. There's been a lot of really great conversation around it where it could end up being as good as the internet in the way that it's being used as a tool to help people connect with one another and to receive goods, products, information, things like that. There are some key things that the metaverse would have, like avatar identities, where you would have, you know, like an avatar profile picture-esque type of image that you would use to display yourself. Mm-hmm. a bunch of content creation. I mean, the metaverse practically relies on content creation, especially from 3D artists, which is absolutely amazing for them because I feel like they don't get enough highlight. And the stuff that they work on takes so much effort anyway. There's also a whole virtual economy part to it, which if you played Neopets, you can see how that could fall apart real quickly. But, we'll see.
But, also they're incredibly robust virtual economies, like World of Warcraft.
True.
And loads of online games like that. Like, RuneScape has a pretty robust virtual economy. MMOs
True.
have that down pat.
I guess we have moved on since Neopets.
So...
See, every time I hear metaverse, I just think about Neopets, and I don't know why, because I don't even think Neopets was a metaverse. I don't know. Anyways, a bunch of social aspects. Presence is really big. Security and privacy will end up being a very important factor in this future metaverse.
Which, if it's Facebook, that's probably not a good thing.
Yes. So the whole idea with the metaverse is that it's this place where people can participate in a bunch of different parts of life, but all within one central technology, I guess, is kind of the way that I understand it. I've heard many other definitions, but a good example of a metaverse is like Roblox. So you play Roblox, but you're also able to talk to your friends in there. And you can also, some people have classrooms in there. You can go to, recently they just had a Chipotle pop-up in Roblox. And if you were one of the first 30,000 people to go to this in-game Chipotle, then you could receive a real-life free burrito. Like, it just hits on so many parts of your daily life, and you can learn in there, you can play in there, you can watch movies or do some form of entertainment in there. There's just so much that you can do in there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but and this is very, very, very far out there, but essentially is what Mark Zuckerberg trying to do, create something that is encompassing of your senses and your life as, like, to bring it into anime terms, like a Sword Art Online kind of deal.
Almost.
But more connected with the real world, because Sword Art Online is a very fantasy and fictitious world, but you do a lot of daily life activities in there, like socializing, connecting with people, you have a home, like you do all these things. But like connecting it more to the real world than and real interactions, as opposed to making it like an MMORPG.
Yeah. One of the key differences is that Sword Art Online tried to take you away from the real world, and the metaverse would try and integrate itself with the real world. Okay. So you would be able to receive phone calls from your dad, who doesn't even use the metaverse, and you would see that show up in your headset, and you could answer that phone call and be like, "Hey dad, what's up? Oh, you want to send me a picture of our dog? Wow, our dog looks really cute. Okay, talk to you later, dad." And you would be able to like go on Amazon and like surf the internet as you normally would. Wow, that was a very 90s thing I just said. Surf the internet. Okay.
But so essentially it's not differentiating itself from the real world. It's an extension of the real world in a virtual space.
Yes, because it's trying to be essentially like the next step of the internet.
Okay.
So the internet is something that is so ingrained in our daily lives that we don't even think about how involved we are with it. To the point where it's like, okay, I want to go somewhere, so I'm going to pull up maps on my phone. Yeah, that's using data. That's using the internet. Like, it's that involved where we're like, oh, I'll just pull up maps. Oh, I need to go to a meeting on my calendar. I can see when my meetings are. Oh, I want to read my email because we don't send letters by mail anymore, or pay my bills, or I want to buy some clothes or get my groceries delivered. Like, the internet is so ingrained with our daily lives that that's what he and a lot of people who are fans of the metaverse want the metaverse to be, is that ingrained in our daily lives. The difference between Mark Zuckerberg's vision of the metaverse and other people's is that he wants the metaverse to be focused on connections with people. Mm-hmm. So he specifically wants it to be like, okay, you go into work and you have a hybrid kind of workspace and your coworkers show up. You have these little glasses on that you wear all the time. Not like a full VR headset. I'm talking like Ray-Bans at this point. Mm-hmm. Just normal glasses. And you wear these glasses and you can see your coworkers who are working from home as little holograms sitting next to you in the meeting. Mm-hmm. That's what he's looking for here. So it's something that's so ingrained in your daily life to the point where you have to wear them to participate in daily life. Yeah. And then there would be things that you can exchange like NFTs, which is a whole controversial topic.
Cryptocurrency.
Yes, they created their own cryptocurrency that you could use. There's a lot of aspects to it, and he said, I know that this is a big ask. I know that it's not going to happen anytime soon, but what I'm more interested in is the technology that they have developed already to try and get closer to the metaverse, but could really be used for other things that are so cool. Yeah. Like, they created this really cool wrist technology where it's like these little watches and they read your wrist movements. So you could write on your leg as if you're like writing with a pen and just do the movements and it would send a text. It can like figure out what you're writing. Very cool. Would be super helpful for the deaf community. Like, send out that tech. I'm ready for it. But that's kind of where my coworkers and I feel. It's like John Carmack, who was the original creator of Oculus, he made a whole comment about this. And he said basically that he didn't align himself with Mark Zuckerberg's vision of the metaverse because a lot of luxury items in reality are freedom from co-presence. So that's like private offices, private beach, private plane, things like that. Sometimes adding people isn't always positive, especially for introverted people. Yeah. I agree.
I think of Mark Zuckerberg's idea of the metaverse as a dystopia. And all I can see is the 50 Million Merits episode from Black Mirror, where everything is all based around technology and you have to exercise every day and that earns that virtual currency that you can spend on daily life and you can't escape technology. And all of Mark Zuckerberg's presentation just screamed Black Mirror to me and it seemed horrific. And I hate it personally, but I see how the technology could be separated from Mark Zuckerberg's idea of the metaverse specifically, because his idea is not everyone's idea. I could see how this could be a beneficial thing, not in the hands of Facebook. Yeah. But I personally hate it.
Yeah. I do not subscribe to Mark Zuckerberg's vision of the metaverse, and just working in the games industry and having to hear about it for so long, I still don't fully understand what everyone wants from the metaverse, but they all have very differing opinions. And I could see it being a useful tool, especially for work and for school and for healthcare. Oh my gosh, they've made such an improvement on healthcare with things like VR and the ideas that are being developed to create the metaverse, like that wrist technology. Really great. For therapy, great. Like, love all of that. But I do not subscribe to the idea of constant and consistent co-presence that Mark Zuckerberg wants, partially because I'm an introvert and partially because I just don't think that it would be a good idea. So I'm going to keep looking into it. I know that it's going to end up having a huge impact on game dev in general because he's putting so much money into helping game devs, especially in the 3D art space and engineering spaces. He's putting a bunch of money in towards their education and helping them. And I know that a bunch of game studios are already being contacted by Meta or Facebook to start to develop things for it because they need 3D artists and they need them bad. So we'll start to see some more 3D art come out and we'll hear more, I'm sure, but I don't think it's going to happen in this decade or the next one or anytime soon, whatever he's planning.
Yeah. But moving on to news that I'm incredibly interested in, and I'm sure you're interested in as well. It feels like we've dedicated hundreds of hours to this topic in particular.
No, really?
So, coming this February is the highly anticipated, the mythical, the magical, the story of none other than Katsuya, the nearly faceless man Honda.
Oh my gosh, yep.
Oh, and Kyoko.
And Kyoko.
And Kyoko.
She's just the other half of this cover art.
Which, if you don't watch Fruits Basket, A, what is wrong with you? Because you should watch Fruits Basket. Actually, I won't hold it against you. But you definitely should. There's nothing wrong with you. I'm sorry for being so inflammatory with my language. But definitely watch Fruits Basket because seasons 1 through 3 tells a very fantastic story in and of itself. But we are getting the prelude to the story that leads up to the events. Apparently, I don't know what happens in this other than the man, the myth, the legend. Katsuya Honda is going to be in it. And I actually get to learn who he is as a human being.
You will. So, manga readers like me know how the two met. But anime onlys don't because they cut that info. They're like, you're not getting it. You're going to see it in an OVA. So, there's going to be a special prequel episode, but it will also be accompanied by a digest episode of the whole anime series, which is narrated by Kyo. And there's also going to be a brand new anime story about Toru and Kyo that's set after the series. And I am so excited.
Wait.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, is that content that you don't even know? Is that like Fruits Basket and other stuff? Or is it like completely brand new?
They said brand new anime story. So that tells me it's anime only content. And obviously, Takiya's still involved. She did the cover art for the prelude. And it looks beautiful.
Takiya, if you don't know, is the author of Fruits Basket.
Yes. And so she's obviously still involved in the story. I imagine that they got a bunch of her okay, or maybe she even just wrote the whole new story.
Which
who knows?
I would imagine is probably the case because she has been so vocal on Twitter throughout the entire process of the show, creating new art for literally every episode, correct?
Yes.
And so, seeing this and how much love and attention Fruits Basket is getting, that they're even adding new content for Kyo and Toru is so wonderful. And you know what? I'm only a little bit bitter. They're adapting Kyoko and Katsuya.
Yeah.
They're adding content for Kyo and Toru.
Yeah. You know what's missing? Kakeru
Manabe! And his once mentioned girlfriend, who I have been spoiled, there is content about her. She does exist.
Yes.
I don't know anything about her to this day, but I know that she does exist, and there's a lot of content there that would be premium for an episode.
At this point, with how much love and attention they're giving Fruits Basket, I would not be surprised if they added another OVA. Because they left it open. They left it open for us to get an OVA about this. It was honestly a plot hole at this point.
It was 100% a plot hole. I don't know if anyone else would call it a plot hole except manga readers. Like, I don't know if any anime onlys besides myself would care about the Kakeru thing.
No, but they dropped it. Like, they built it up enough that you noticed that Kakeru had some weird fascination with Toru.
Yes, yeah. And he had a weird fascination with Toru. He mentioned having a girlfriend. I need to know about him as a human being because they really didn't explain that much about who he is. They explained his background, which is fine and great, and I think that they did really well with that, to my knowledge. Maybe they didn't, but I need to know more about what all of those just randomly dropped plot threads were about.
Yeah. And I think that they dropped enough of them that they could be picked up in an OVA, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did it.
Yeah. Especially if this OVA goes over really well, which, knowing the Fruits Basket fandom, it's going to go over incredibly well.
Yeah, and they've been handing out licensing for the merch like crazy. I feel like every single time we go into like a Hot Topic / box lunch situation, there's even more Fruits Basket merch. They're just handing out the licensing like freaking Halloween trick-or-treat candy here.
There was even Fruits Basket Funkos.
Yeah.
Like, they know that they have a winner on their hands, and I think that they're going to continue forward with it. And if they continue forward with it respectfully to the subject matter, I think that that's nothing but a positive.
Mm-hmm.
If it starts turning into being milked, that's a different story. But I'm not super concerned about that if Taki is still involved.
Yeah, agreed. So, but how do you feel about the art? We haven't even talked about the art yet. I said it was pretty, but that was pretty much it.
I think it looks fantastic. I think he looks so much like Asoma. It's hilarious, and I know he's not Asoma. She's wearing her little red butterfly, like, biker jacket. Got those great red nails. It looks like they're pretty young, so it looks like they could both be in, like, middle school, high school-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I'm really excited to see what this is all about. And seeing Kyoko as a child is kind of weird.
Yeah, a bit. I guess you haven't seen her as a kid.
I don't think so. Yeah, no. I've seen her, like, as a young adult with, like, Toru and Arisa, but yeah, I've never seen her that young, so it's interesting seeing her. And you know what? I'm getting overwhelmed because I'm seeing so much of Katsuya's face. It's crazy.
You're not used to it.
I'm not used to it. But they look very happy. And so I'm interested in... I'm just hoping for just, like, a wholesome episode, like, learning about their kind of lives and how they kind of met. And because she seemed enamored with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm just expecting... Well, maybe it's Fruits Basket. Maybe I shouldn't expect, like, a wholesome... His family's kind of the worst. So, I don't know. Maybe it won't be wholesome. But I'm really hoping for just, like, a wholesome kind of journey with these two.
We'll see. You'll have to wait until February or read the manga.
On top of the Fruits Basket news...
Yes, we also had an announcement about an anime that will be coming out in 2022. So I believe it's called Spy Family. I'm hoping that they're going for a Hunter x Hunter thing here where you don't say the X.
Mm-hmm.
And with that little explanation out of the way, I'm sure it's very obvious that it's a manga series that I have not read. But they're adapting this manga series, Spy Family, into an anime. Mm-hmm. And I haven't read the manga. I have been told to read it multiple times, and I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely something that I'm still going to have to give a read, because I know that manga and anime isn't 1-to-1. But I have heard a bit about it. So you watched the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
What were your initial thoughts from the trailer? Because I at least know a little bit of the premise.
I really have no idea how to... It looks like a fun show, but I have no idea what it's kind of about. The Anime News Network essentially tells me that it's about a spy who's kind of the father figure in the family, and it's his mission to start up a family so that he can infiltrate this elite school, right?
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, something gets thrown... But a wrench gets kind of thrown into this plan because the person he chooses to marry ends up being an assassin, and the kid that they adopt has telepathic powers.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty much exactly what I know.
Yeah. Going off of that mixed with the trailer, I think it's a really interesting premise. It says that it's a comedy in this article, which based on that little teaser trailer, because let's be honest, it was just a teaser.
Yeah.
It looks very edgy in that trailer, but a lot of times teasers don't quite get the tone on point. Remember the teaser for Horimiya?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Where they acted like it was this edgy teen drama when it was just this goofball kind of
super cutesy slice of life.
Yeah.
And
so I'm getting mixed messaging here, but I am really interested in it because it looks very stylish. The animation looks so on point, and I'm really excited about that. And the dude who's directing it, he directed Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah.
Duh!
It's cool.
Come on. And I think Mobile Suit Gundam.
Yo.
So, I'm really excited to try it out, but I don't really know what to expect because the description I was given is vague enough that it could go anywhere. Because you would think it would be typical shonen fare based on spy, assassin, telepathic child, Yeah. But it's a comedy.
Yep.
It might be like a Naruto kind of deal, which is very shonen but also pretty funny. I don't know.
We'll see. I really don't know anything more than what you learned from the description on the Anime News Network, so I thought I had a little bit up my sleeve, but I really don't have anything at all. So I guess we're on a level playing field here, which honestly makes it more fun.
Yeah.
I really missed having some type of seasonal anime where we both don't know what's going on, and we can just appreciate every single episode as it comes out. So I'm excited to maybe not read the manga yet and just appreciate the anime for what it is and have a really fun time watching it every single week.
Yeah, because that's something that we haven't been able to do for a long time.
Literally since Horimiya.
Yeah. Oh, so very excited. Let us know if you are also excited. I think we've talked a lot about nostalgia today with Mario Party and Pikmin. And so one of our patrons, I'm Watching You People, suggested that we talk about retro games that we think need to be rebooted.
Ooh, that's such a good one. Oh
and
no, I can't think. Oh,
I had one that popped into my mind immediately. It's one of the best JRPG franchises that has gone essentially extinct ever since the PS2, and it needs to come back yesterday. It needs to be here.
I think I already have an idea of what it is.
So if you've never played the Breath of Fire games,
Yep.
This is a Capcom JRPG, and there are 5 released. Technically, there's a 6th one that came out a couple years ago that's a Japan-only mobile game that was terrible, and everyone hated it in Japan, and it went down very quickly. Well, maybe 3 people liked it. I don't know. I don't want to speak for everyone, but we don't count that one. So there are 5 Breath of Fire games. They're traditional turn-based JRPGs in Breath of Fire 1 through 4. And all of them kind of start with a similar presence. You are a member of a race called the Brood. Well, that's what they call it in Breath of Fire 3. That's the one I stick with. But essentially, they're dragons. You are from a race of people who are able to turn into dragons. Your name is Ryu, which is literally Japanese for dragon. Little bit on the nose there, Capcom. And you always travel with this princess from a city called Windia, and she has bird wings. And those are the only 2 characters that go through every single game. And so, a lot of times, it's typical JRPG fare where you're trying to kill a god for whatever reason. But these games are so incredibly charming with their cast of characters, which are a lot of times anthropomorphic animals. So they're so varied in who they are and what they're like and how you interact with all of these different characters and what contexts you interact with them, mixed in with the fact that you can turn into a freaking dragon in every fight if you want to. It makes it so interesting. And when you start getting into the politics of these worlds, I would say it's a franchise that's at the same caliber as Final Fantasy in terms of narrative storytelling, at least in my personal opinion. And a lot of times, I think the characters are just as likable, if not more likable. And so this is a franchise that they did some weird stuff during the JRPG boom of the PS2, where they tried to find this new, unique kind of battle system gimmick to differentiate themselves from everyone else. And it didn't really work. Essentially, you had to lose the game and start over, but you start over at essentially a higher power level, and you re-go until you can't get any further again, and then you have to restart, and there are multiple endings. And people just apparently didn't like it because it strayed too far from the typical Breath of Fire fare. But I've also heard lots of people who were introduced to the franchise from that game say they absolutely love the system in it, and that's been unfairly judged up to this point. And so I think that they just need to start fresh with a new Breath of Fire title. Again, following Ryu and Nina through some mystical, magical journey, gathering an eclectic group of misfits trying to save the world and figuring out the mysteries of the dragons, because that's what makes it so cool, is that same base premise approached in so many different ways. If you're looking to get into it, you can play Breath of Fire 1 and 2. I say stray away from 1 unless you really like SNES JRPGs. They're still really clunky. But you can play both 1 and 2 on the SNES Classic on Nintendo Switch Online. I've been playing Breath of Fire 2 a lot lately. It's a comfort game for me. And so that is 110% my vote, is the Breath of Fire franchise needs rebooted, because it's been since the PS2. And I want rebooted more in the vein of the SNES PS1 games, which are Breath of Fire 1 through 4.
Yo, why did we both choose a merry band of misfits trying to save the world that hasn't really been around since the PS... Well, yours was 2, mine is 1. But I have another game along the same vein, which is the Chrono series. So I'm talking Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross.
Ooh.
I would hate to see them do a remaster with like new visuals or like a remake kind of thing with Chrono Trigger. I like the stylized version that's already on the
like the DS version of the SNES game.
That's great. Keep the sprites. Please don't take them away. I like that. I think it should stay like that. I like that. But I would really appreciate a continuation of the story. I think that story is so beautiful and wonderful. And like, I started with Chrono Cross. Actually, I was one of the few. One of my first consoles was the first PlayStation. And I was really young, but my older brother played Chrono Cross. And so it was one of the first games that I was exposed to. And then we ended up getting into Chrono Trigger at a later time. And I just, oh my gosh, I love both of those games so much. I fell in love with them. The music is amazing. The characters are so wonderful. And the worlds that they travel in are so fun and amazing and beautiful. And they're such spectacular experiences. And I mean, so many people know about Chrono Trigger and so many people love Chrono Trigger. So why did they just drop the ball on that story? They could continue it.
Yeah. Or just use the same basic premise, because Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross are like connected.
Yeah,
but
like
not really. So just do another. Make it like a Final Fantasy-esque thing.
Exactly.
Like, just have a new twist to it that's Chrono whatever.
Yes, exactly. And we've been playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts, and by a lot of Kingdom Hearts, I mean a lot of Kingdom Hearts 1, so that's all I really know. But I feel like, from what I know about Kingdom Hearts, they end up including even more Square titles.
Just The World Ends With You and Final Fantasy.
But still, Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross are still Square titles, ultimately. So, hello, let's add them in. Yeah. I would love to see Surge, or just like literally, oh my god, Kid. Frog. Oh, I'd lose it if any of them were in Kingdom Hearts. That would be so much fun. I feel like that would get me more invested in Kingdom Hearts. I feel like a lot of people who like retro gaming really also enjoy Chrono Trigger. It's a classic. Yeah. It's such a classic.
And I think because it is such a classic, it would be such a great franchise to reintroduce to this next generation. Again, not trying to rebuild Chrono Trigger to be the same game, but with a new coat of paint, a la Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just make a new title using that franchise and paying honor to Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross in the process. And yeah, include it in Kingdom Hearts so that you can reinvigorate the fandom, even though honestly, I don't think that the Chrono games need any reintroduction. I think that they are still lauded as some of the best games ever made.
Yes.
But just to kind of reinvigorate that, put it back into the cultural consciousness, and get the rumor mills kind of swirling so that when you do release it, the buzz is already there. And you can have an entirely new adventure in an entirely new world, or not. You know, you could still have the Lavos myth or the events of Chrono Cross as, you know, fabled lore of yesteryear. And I think that would be, I agree, I think that would be so cool, and I think it's needed. And it's not a question of whether it would sell well, it's who wouldn't buy it. Yeah. If you like that style of game. Oh, no, I agree with that. I think that would be a fantastic game to reboot.
Oh my gosh. I'm imagining if it got like a Breath of the Wild treatment, and
oh,
my head's spinning. I like need to lay down.
That would be fantastic. I think the SNES era of JRPGs just has so many great ones that could be rebooted. You know, like, even if you think, we don't need to go into them as much, but even like Earthbound. Yeah. That would be spectacular. We know that will never happen. But
Kid Icarus. Yes. I shout from the distance. Please.
Which is it's not technically a JRPG, but like,
I don't care. Kid Icarus, please.
But yeah, like, they did that Hail Mary with Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS and just radio silence.
It's so sad. I loved Kid Icarus Uprising, but like, I need more. Give me more. Yeah.
And then there are other franchises like Sly Cooper that I would do anything for a reboot. Banjo-Kazooie. Like, I feel like the list goes on and on, but Breath of Fire for me, 100% is the go-to, and the Chrono series for you.
Yes.
Oh, we just need more JRPGs in our lives.
You're right. We have some we need to go play.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We're playing a lot of games right now.
We are. We actually talked about all of them in the podcast already.
Yeah, I think the only ones that we didn't talk about is that you're still working through Littlewood.
Yeah, I found the tree, guys. I found the tree. But I'll have more to talk about Littlewood next week after I get married to Maximilian. So,
oh my gosh.
I'm getting married to my bachelor this week, guys. Can't wait.
Zesty. And then I think the only other game that I'm kind of playing that we didn't talk about is I'm still playing Super Smash Brothers a lot. I'm getting back into Pokemon Unite.
Yeah.
But, that's what it is.
I'm very behind on Yashahime. I will have more to report next week.
Yes, and we need to continue forward with Star Wars Visions so
You're
that
right.
we can actually finish it. But, yeah, we'll get to that stuff. But is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about either. So that'll do it for this week's episode of ThoughtCast. If you like ThoughtCast, then make sure to like us, follow us, subscribe to us, give us 5 stars, leave a review, whatever you're doing on whatever platform you're on. We would appreciate it more than you can imagine because it appeases the glorious algorithm gods. We are their subservient followers.
Always.
So we would really appreciate that. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. We can't twist your arm to do it. But we hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, a fantastic rest of your week, and why not even a fantastic rest of your month. And we will see you on Wednesday. Later.
See ya.